middleweight champion Sergio Martinez goes up against UK's Darren Barker. That's Saturday, October 1st. It's at Atlantic City Boardwalk Hall, and it'll be broadcast live on HBO World Championship Boxing. With us on this sweltering day in Manhattan, it must be 90 degrees, is Eddie Goldman, because we have a big fight coming up in Atlantic City. Sergio Martinez against UK's Darren Barker, and we're here to hear a little bit about your analysis of this fight.
Well, if you're watching this on the Kristal Hart show, you're seeing the lovely Kristal Hart and the not as lovely me schwitzing, as we say here in New York. And that's symptomatic of the many problems of boxing, that on a day, as you said, it's 90 degrees or so, heat advisory, summer heat wave, they decide to hold the kickoff news conference for the Sergio Martinez-Darren Barker fight outside on the roof in a lounge in the sun to make it as uncomfortable for people as possible.
But I got a good tan going here.
I know, but not all of us are supposed to be out in the sun too long, and it's much more uncomfortable if it could be inside, where you could work inside and you can always go elsewhere to get a tan. This fight also shows some of what's good in boxing and a lot of what's bad in boxing. It's going to feature the middleweight champion of the world, Sergio Martinez, who won his title last year, of course, with a spectacular knockout of Paul Williams, and defended it against Sergey Zinzaruk, and yet does not hold the WBA title, does not hold the WBC title, does not hold the IBF title, does not hold the WBO title, because all of the preposterous politics of the sport of boxing. Even though he does hold, I believe, the Ring Magazine title, and everybody that follows boxing, even the most corrupt and bought off and ignorant of the writers and journalists, recognizes Sergio Martinez as the middleweight champion of the world, the one who is the linear champion and deserves that title. So he's going to be fighting for something called the WBC Silver Championship, whatever on earth that means. And he's also having, according to him and his promoter Lou DiBella, problems getting some of the other top middleweights to face him, because they have these other belts from these other alphabet soup clown organizations. No offense to clowns who really do earn an honest living, unlike the sanctioning bodies.
You do have a way with words here, but
yes,
thank you very much for calling it like it is.
And some of these other guys, they would love to have a big super fight, but that's not happening, for all the politics in boxing. You want to have the best fight the best. At the same time, a fighter from the UK, Darren Barker, steps up, the European champion. Unbeaten as a pro with a pretty strong amateur background, but he's never fought in the United States. This is his opportunity to fight Sergio Martinez. But even though he has an amateur background, he doesn't have the experience to deal with Martinez, who lands incredible power shots from highly unorthodox angles. When you watch him, it looks like he's leaning one way or another, and he's landing a knockout blow from somewhere else. So it's going to be a real test for Darren Barker. And already people are asking Lou DiBella, are you going to have him fight Macklin or Sturm? You know, Macklin got robbed in his fight with Sturm in Germany for one of the other middleweight titles. Are you going to have him fight Lara? Are you going to have him fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., this guy, the other? And you can't overlook a guy, because even though Sergio Martinez should be a prohibitive favorite in this fight, this guy, as we heard at the news conference, is very confident, and he does not sound like he's coming here just for a paycheck and coming here to lose. He wants to impress. And I think he realizes that even if he loses, he didn't say this, but even if he loses to the middleweight champion of the world, if he puts on a good performance, he's in the mix, because he's a younger guy than Martinez, I think by about 6 years or something, 6 or 7 years, something like that. So this is a chance for Barker to impress. And some of the fighters that have come up from the UK that have been put in a similar situation have failed to impress. But it just again shows what's wrong with boxing, because a lot of people listening or watching this are going to say, who is Darren Barker? I've never seen him fight. I don't know much about him. So that's the problems of boxing. Again, intruding into what should be organized as a sport, but it's not. It's the promoters, it's the networks, trying to pass all kinds of stuff off as the best. And we're trying to tell you that one of the guys is the best. The other guy really is unproven at this point. So again, you can never count anybody out, but he really hasn't earned the shot in the way that you should earn it if this were organized as a sport. So that's the problem that they have. And again, as we sit here sweating in the sun, waiting to get some water.
Just before we end, you brought up Lara, and this fight's going to be in Atlantic City, and that's where he fought Paul Williams. And there has been such controversy about the judging. What do you think about the judging? What do you think about changes, and what changes should be made? Should there be more judges? What's your view on what happened just recently in Atlantic City?
The judging is terrible in both boxing and MMA. Having the promoters pay for the judges creates a bias, and it's reflected that when the judges seem to get it really wrong in a one-sided fight, guess who gets the benefit of that? It's the lead promoter. It's not the underdog or the unknown guy or the lesser known guy. Is the case of Arislandi Lara, who is not as well known as Paul Williams. So at least in the Jersey State Athletic Control Board, and Aaron Davis suspended these three judges who've had some bad decisions before. But there's a systematic problem that has to be taken care of. And I think, unlike a lot of the promoters, I think there has to be some type of national regulatory body. It's really an international sport, and we have state bodies and state appointees handling this kind of stuff, which is absolutely preposterous to do that. They really need an international governing body. But the sport is so corrupt, it's going to go to its grave, it's going to continue to decline, and people are just going to shake their head and say, the hell with all this kind of stuff before it gets any better. And it's been dying a not so slow death over the last few decades, and it looks like that's going to continue to happen in this second decade of the 21st century.
On that optimistic note, I would like to say thank you very much, Eddie Goldman, and thank you out there for watching, and enjoy the fight.
Enjoy the fight. Thank you, darling.
Mwah. Mwah. I waited all day for that.